Okay, that's good. Well, hello everyone. So one of the major barriers for students attending college, oh, uh, one of the biggest barriers for students attending college is how to pay for its costs. What I want everyone to know is that there is a lot of financial aid out there to help students with that. It's just the most important thing is before you can receive financial aid, you need to apply for it. So in this presentation, I'll go over the basics of financial aid in college. And yeah, let's start. Next slide, please. So college is a big investment. For example, what I have here is UTA's estimated cost for the 21-22 academic year. When you include tuition and fees, books and supplies, housing and meals, transportation, and personal costs, it can add up to $28,500. Now, I just want to remind everyone that this is just an estimate. Your cost can be more expensive or less expensive based on your circumstances. For example, let's just say you're going to a college that is drivable from your house. You don't need to stay on in-campus housing and you can take your meals at home. That $10,516 figure will be significantly less than what we project. So when you and your students are deciding which college they would like to attend, what I suggest is they go to that college's website and in their search bar, type in cost of attendance. They should have a projected amount of these item types, tuition and fees, books and supplies, so on and so forth for that particular college. And from there, you can compare other colleges' costs and determine which is the best fit for you and your student. Next slide, please. So in order to apply for federal financial aid, you would need to complete the free application for federal student aid, or the Fafsa. If your student is a senior and he or she will be attending university or college in fall 2022, they need to fill out the 22-23 Fafsa. You can access the online application on www.studentaid.gov, and it's actually available. It's been available since October 1st. Now, when you fill out the Fafsa, you need to know which colleges that your student might attend. In that application, there's a search feature that will allow you to add the college by name, or if you have a specific college code that the college provides, you can enter it there. For example, UTA school code is 003656. Other things you need to know about filling out the Fafsa is that you would need your students and your parents' 2020 income taxes. You can use the IRS data retrieval tool if eligible, and it'll make the process a lot easier because it will download all that information directly from the IRS databases. Next slide, please. Oh, and one more thing. So in order to sign your Fafsa and make it official, you need to create an FSA ID. Each student and parent must create their own FSA ID and password. And in order to create an FSA ID, you would need to know your first and last name, your date of birth, your social security number, and your email and or phone number, just in case you need to reset your password. Next slide, please. To qualify for maximum grant funding, and grants are basically free money, you should complete the following by the January 15th, 2022 priority date. So we have a priority date because state and institutional funds, which are funds from that specific college or university, they are limited. So January 15th is the cutoff date if you want priority for state and institutional grants. If you turn in your Fafsa after the priority date, there's no guarantee that you will receive those two types of grants. So before January 15th, you should submit your Fafsa application to the colleges you want to attend, turn in all required documents that they may ask, and be admitted. Next slide, please. So what the Fafsa does is it calculates your expected family contribution. Think of the expected family contribution as an index number that determines a student's financial aid eligibility. It stays the same regardless of which college you apply to. So when you fill out a FAFSA, it looks at the students' and parents' income and assets minus any allowances. Allowances are the government's acknowledgement that you have other bills to pay and other taxes that you've already paid. The lower the EFC number, the more likely you'll receive grants. For example, if the FAFSA determines that you have a 0 EFC, you would qualify for the maximum Pell Grant amount. Next slide, please. So earlier, I talked about additional documents that may need to be turned in to a university or college. This is because 1 out of every 3 FAFSA applicants are randomly selected by the U.S. Department of Education for a process called verification. And verification just wants to make sure that the information that you put on your FAFSA is accurate. Using the IRS data retrieval tool will reduce an applicant's chance of being selected, mainly because a lot of that information is coming straight from the IRS databases. If selected, your school will notify the applicant of the forms and documents needed by email and or mail. Verification can take several weeks to process, and students can't be awarded until it is complete. So example of documents that you may need to turn in for verification include your 1040, if you filed one, your W-2s, your pay stubs, your driver's license, if we need to verify your identity, so on and so forth. Next slide. So for the 22-23 FAFSA application, we require income data reported from 2020. The reason why it's 2 years prior is because most people have already turned in their tax forms for 2020. This means most people will be able to use the IRS data retrieval tool and can apply for the FAFSA as early as October 1st. However, as a lot of you know, 2 years is a long time and a lot of things can happen. So if your financial or personal situation is not the same as it was in 2020 compared to now, you can submit, or students can submit, a special circumstances form to the school's financial aid office. So examples of special circumstances include loss or change of employment since 2020, loss of benefits, extenuating medical expenses, and other types of situations. Next slide, please. Your FAFSA application is your one application that applies to you for federal Pell Grants, FSEOG grants, which again are free money, institutional grants, state grants, federal direct loans, which is money that needs to be repaid sometime in the future, and federal work study, which allows a student a broader access to jobs in a university or college. Next slide, please. So let's just say you're not qualified to fill out a FAFSA. You could also if you can't fill out a FAFSA, you could also fill out a TASFA, which is a Texas application for student financial aid students. These are for students who do not qualify for FAFSA, but are considered Texas residents, such as DACA and undocumented students. The TASFA is a paper financial aid application that must be turned in to each college's financial aid office. You should check with the college for what they offer for TASFA applicants. Funds may be limited, and they must be turned in before the January 15 priority date to have access to maximal funding. TASFA applications are available online starting October 1, 2021 at www.collegeforalltexans.com. They can also be found on your school's financial aid office website. Next slide, please. So a quick note on federal student loans. They have two different types. They have subsidized loans, which are loans that are interest-free as long as you are enrolled in 6 credit hours or half time in school. Unsubsidized loans collects interest starting whenever you take out the loan. Now, for both types of loans, you don't have to start payment until 6 months after you withdraw from school or you go below 6 credit hours. Next slide, please. If this is your first time borrowing a federal loan, students need to complete a master promissory note and loan entrance counseling. Both can be completed online at www.studentaid.gov. Next slide, please. So, when you receive a financial aid package from your school, you usually get an email or letter that looks something like this. It will summarize your financial aid that you'll receive for the summer, fall, and spring semesters, as well as an estimated cost of attendance for that academic year. As a reminder, this cost of attendance is just an estimate. Your cost could be higher or lower depending on your situation. Next slide, please. So important things to remember. Once again, apply early, apply early, apply early. If you can complete your Fafsa and the verification process before January 15th, you can qualify for the most amount of grant funding. Fafsa and TASFA applications become available October 1st every year. Students must apply each school year. Now, this is important because some people think that if you complete the Fafsa once or TASFA, you never need to complete it again. But the thing is, a family's financial situation can change from year to year. This is why we require that these applications be completed each school year to see if your financial situation has changed and if adjustments to your financial aid package need to be made. Also, as a reminder, turn in all requested verification documents to a school's financial aid office as soon as possible if you're chosen. Next slide, please. So, when you receive a financial aid package, your financial aid disperses each semester. When it disperses, your grants, loans, and scholarships will pay towards any university charges currently on your account. Once it pays off all charges and there's leftover money, they will be sent to you as a refund. This refund check could be used for books, food, rent, gas, or any other educational expenses that weren't charged to your account at the time. You should check with your college's financial aid office to see how the disbursement process works at that college. Next slide, please. And I know I didn't include a slide this time, but I also want to remind students and parents that there are a lot of scholarship opportunities available wherever you go. So when you go to your college or university, you should definitely check out your financial aid office and see what scholarships they offer. They could also point you out to private scholarships that are offered outside the university and how to apply for them. If you are interested in coming to UTA, you can visit us at fao@uta.edu. You could also visit us at the University Administration Building here on campus in Arlington, Texas. Next slide, please. Thank you very much. And does anyone have any questions?
Yes, we have some questions for you guys. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. One of the questions is, what does FSEOG stand for?
Oh, I apologize for that. FSEOG means Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grant. It's a very long name, so we just call it FSEOG.
Also, they want to know, is it separate? Is a separate grant from the Pell Grant?
Yes, so FSEOG is a separate grant that can be awarded to students if they show exceptional financial need.
In addition to the Pell Grant, then?
Yes, so You can get a Pell Grant, and if you show additional financial need, you can be awarded an FSE OG grant. It just depends on your financial situation.
Okay, the next question is it true that when families make too much money, children are not able to qualify for financial aid?
So if a family makes too much money or over a certain threshold, they will most likely not be able to receive any grants. However, financial aid isn't just grants, it's also loans. So what will most likely happen is a student will qualify for either subsidized loans, unsubsidized loans, or a combination of the two.
Awesome. Next question. You said DRT will reduce an applicant's chance of being selected. What exactly is the IRS retrieval tool?
All right, so the IRS retrieval tool, what it does is first you're on your FAFSA application, and once you reach the part where it asks for financial information, it will ask if you want to use the data retrieval tool that's hosted by the IRS. If you say yes, you'll basically log in to the IRS website, and it'll ask you to confirm your identity. So you would have to enter your FSA ID, so your username and password that you created with FAFSA.
Mm-hmm.
And it will also ask you to enter some personal information that you would have put on your 1040. As a note, the IRS website is very strict. So when you enter in your personal identifiable information to the IRS website, make sure it's exactly as it was put on your 1040. After that, it will confirm what information you want to transfer from the IRS databases to the FAFSA. You would choose the information. It'll ask, are you sure you want to transfer? You would say yes, confirm, and then the information will be transferred on the FAFSA. So anything that the IRS transfers from their database to the FAFSA, it will be filled out on your FAFSA. You won't be able to change that figure. And I'm pretty sure when it transfers over, it won't show the number for privacy reasons. It'll just say data transfer on that particular field.
Thank you so much.